Hey YouTube, today on this video we left Cracker Barrel off of I-75 near Dayton, heading over to meet up with a friend of mine I've known since the 80s, early 80s or mid 80s. Stationed with him at Tyndall Air Force Base, and then after that I'm going to head over to the U.S. Air Force Museum at Wright Patterson. Wright Patterson was my very first duty station where all my kids were born, and go check it out. By the way, if you ever come out this way, they say the museum is free to get into, and it is an incredible Air Force museum. You really got to see it, so I'll keep you posted. Dang, they got an entire B-52 up in this bad boy. How cool is that? C-47 Spooky. Gunship.
Dauntless 3, this is Spooky 73. Spooky 73, Dauntless 3. Yeah, Roger, we're coming into your area from the east. We got guns and flares and waiting. Roger, we're rolling in now.
It's boner time. This is an OV-10 Bronco. Forward air control. Great interdiction. See, it says forward air control, FAC aircraft. Look at all those pods on there. You guys remember Bat-21? Yeah, buddy. Hey, Joel Wheeler, check this out. HH3. Jolly Green Giant. Air refueling. M60 at the door, or at the window. Wow. Pretty cool. That was called Black Mariah. Yeah, buddy. Look at this PJ that others may live. Pittsburgher. You had to know all these Medal of Honor winners in school. Air Force School. Look at these old penetrators. Those are those old shitty switchblades they used to give you.
Firefight as the Air Force Huskies hovered. The helicopter was receiving heavy fire. Charlie Company was receiving heavy fire. Soldiers lay wounded and dying, and they were running out of ammo. Pitts was there to retrieve casualties, care for the wounded, and get them up into the helicopter and back to base as quickly and as safely as possible. He put the better part of a dozen men aboard the Huskies.
Best hope for survival, combat search and rescue in Southeast Asia.
In this day, the pilot doesn't know what it's hard to say how many members of Charlie Company realized that night to William H. Pitts martyr. He was shot 3 times and never stopped. He cared for the wounded, shot back at the muzzle flashes, and when he could, he looked into the eyes.
I love the gal with an M203 grenade launcher attached to it. That was my favorite. The M79, the old-fashioned M79. We even have a display profiling Mike Keeler back when he was skinny. Vietnam era guys remember Bat 2-1. They even made a movie out of it with Gene Hackman. If you haven't seen that movie, it's really good. You ought to check it out. That's where the Navy SEALs extracted him at the Arrow. These tape. Stealth F-22 Raptor. There it is. Well, I'm really surprised they have one here. That's so cool. This museum is incredible. You even got all the secret planes here. There's a B-2 bomber. The flying Dorito chip. This is it. SR-71 Blackbird. It was, I wonder if this is one stationed at Kadena when I was there. We used to watch it take off, and when it would come back into the hangar, it'd be so hot that you had to look away from it. Otherwise it felt like you were getting a sunburn. Flies faster than a 30-aught caliber 6 rifle bullet. It's incredible. I've seen a lot of these take off, and I'll tell you what, if you were lucky enough to see one of these take off, you'll never forget it. It was loud and it shook your guts. They had a great career. Wonder how fast they could reactivate these for service. Female Thunderbird pilot. She was gorgeous. Wow. I never even knew they had female Thunderbird pilots. She also flew the F-15 Strike Eagle. That's one of the first Thunderbird planes. This is F-16 Fighting Falcon Current. I think it's the current Thunderbird plane. Maximum speed 1,345 miles an hour. Wild Bill Carpenter used to be a crew chief for the Thunderbirds. I know this would bring back memories for him. Hey John Hosey, do you remember Shannon Cruz? J-Fac guy, J-Tac. That's a lot of ammo to carry, be very heavy. Bob Dinsmore. PJ. Look at that thing. H-53.
That video where they're firing the gun? Yeah.
A-10 tank killer. Here's something. It's a vertical takeoff and landing Osprey. They've killed a bunch of fucking people, these things have. Oh, sorry about my language. CV-22 Bravo Osprey. Matter of fact, one just crashed not long ago, killed a bunch of Marines. Yeah. We had these A-10s at Sharjah when I was there in 1990. These things would come back all shot to hell. Look at this gun drum. .30mm Avenger gun is built around this aircraft. Titanium tub. That thing is wicked. See, cheese. Wait for flash. C-130. Been on a lot of these. Any of these this particular one, look at those camels. Ever helped us out in some of our missions? I don't know. We're awful glad we had them. 1, 2, 3, 4 Gatling guns. We got a cannon. That's so cool. This is a serious fireworks show right here. Holy Shiite Muslim. Can you believe they even have a F-117 Nighthawk here? Desert Storm. Look at that wicked thing. Stealth fighter. That is so cool, actually getting to see one of these things up close. I remember seeing them in the air over in the desert, but never got to go to a base where they were at, actually. I'm sure that's part of the Skunk Works project. That is so cool. F-15. I've seen tons of those in my life. Very cool. Infamous MiG-29 rusky bastards. Dropping my cuff. Go get him, Top Gun. F4. They had those actually here at Wright Patterson when I was stationed here. Iraqi Scud Seeker. $172 sorties. Wow. Look at that. Blasting some camel jockeys. That's what I'm talking about. Another Rusky plane. MiG-23. Balsvidania. Wild Weasel. Big time Cold War Vietnam era fighter. Premier fighter. This was a Charger Special Operations stealth car. You basically couldn't hear the exhaust the way it was built. 360-degree FLIR unit on it. Here we go. Here's a Mark 39 thermonuclear bomb. 10,000 pounds. Here is the Mark 41 thermonuclear bomb. Hydrogen bomb first produced in 1960. Obsolete, no longer used in U.S. Air Force service. Designated to be carried by B-47 or B-52. It had a megaton yield range. Service coat and cap worn by General Thomas Dresser White. It's all embroidered. If you notice, generals don't have the name tags. You better know who they are. These are definitely peacekeepers. Lots of men and women sat for years down in missile silos with these things ready to roll. There's a Minuteman warhead. That thing had a range of 5,000 miles and it would fly at 15,000 miles an hour. 53 feet high. It's incredible. Look out, Russia. Okay, check that out. That's the Xb70. And when I was a kid working here on night shift, we had keys to all these planes, and we would get up in that cockpit and act like we were flying. It's pretty cool. Another SR-71. Booster rocket from the space shuttle, pretty cool. Wow, it's just like I remember it. Both these aircraft were incredible. They were always my favorite. Got a funny story to tell you about the B-36 when I find it. Xb70 Valkyrie. Man, can you believe it was conceived in 1950 and went to fly in the 60s? Unbelievable. Closest I'll ever get to a space shuttle. It's a payload bay. Looks like this is where they would get a satellite. Stuff that you can see flying through space at night. This is mid-deck where the astronauts would live and do some training, it says here. That's a bunch of switches. Go with throttle up. Presidential airplane. Go see which one this one was.
These are cables. There's going to be a bar. Here's what's going to happen, Brian. We're not going back to Boston for
Air Force One. There's a command and control suite. Hey, Carl Vyers. Recognize this stuff on kneecap? Pretty cool. Well, it even smells old in here. Must be the press car. Do not touch the aircraft. Well, if you're fat like me, you can't help it. The white phones were for talking to the crew up in the cockpit, and the tan phones you could call anywhere in the world with. And those guys back there in the command and control cell would put you through. Wow, so this is the plane that flew President Kennedy down to Dallas, and he was assassinated, and this area right here we're standing in is where President Johnson was sworn in before taking off. Pretty cool. This is a Secret Service area right here. Right here. It's a pretty good sized kitchen on this thing. So President Kennedy's casket was placed right here, where four chairs would have been removed. Pretty cool. Alright, now we're going up into Air Force One for General Eisenhower. Have you ever go to Abilene, Texas? I think that's where it is, or Abilene, Kansas. I'm sorry, that's where the General Eisenhower Museum is, and it's a really cool museum. I'd have to have somebody like Al Barber explain this stuff to me. This is back when they were smoking like crazy on these flights. Shitter's full, Clark. Wow. Is that what they used to watch movies on? Independence is Delano Roosevelt FDR's Air Force One. We'll go check that out.
Yeah, much older.
Dead Reckoning computer as an aid navigation. You know you're old school when you got a pencil and sharpener on the wall.
Sorry. Didn't mean to scoop you. Started losing my balance.
If that made it bad, it blocks the whole line. Maybe not, they just tilt the seats back and sleep as best you can.
It's hard to believe that I'm walking up and down the aisle where Franklin Roosevelt, this was his little booth and inlay presidential seal and his chair.
They really needed a kitchen. I was like, we must have. Yeah, but like this.
Presidential shitter.
Most accessible, sure.
First Air Force One that was put into service to fly Franklin Delano Roosevelt around. Hope I didn't say that Truman that was his, but he named the Independence after his hometown. I think it's Independence, Missouri. It's pretty cool.
Oh, there.
No, there's
That would be bad.
Here's where President Roosevelt sat. Back here, and there's his chair. Pretty cool. Okay, what we're looking at here is a B-36. See how the propellers are on the back side of the wing, big tail. And then they had jets up here. This airplane is the one I almost could have lost my Air Force career over, and maybe sitting in Leavenworth. So anyway, see that big tail section there? If you went through the nose up here, there's a big tube with like a little sled on it, and you could lay down on that thing and pull yourself all the way to the back of the airplane where there's a big galley and table and stuff back there. So we had the keys for this bad boy, and we would, me and 4 or 5 other guys, and midnight shifts when the place was closed down, we would go up into the nose of this thing, climb up in there, and pull ourselves all the way to the back, and we'd drink sodas, smoke cigarettes, and play cards during our night shifts. So one time one of the guys emptied the ashtray before we were getting ready to leave, emptied the ashtray in one of the trash cans in the tail of that thing, and it flamed up and almost caught on fire. Well, it did catch on fire, but so there you have it. You might be able to, there's an entrance down here, you might be able to see that tunnel that we pulled ourselves through. This thing was designed for long-range nuclear weapon drops. Used to look out of that deal right there. So here's underneath. Oh, here it is, right there. See that thing, that long tube? We get in that thing, and it had a little, like a little railroad track on it. And that's what we would pull ourselves all the way to the back of this plane on, inside that thing. It was a lot of fun, man. You get zipping along in there. It's pretty cool. Wow, what memories. Recreation of a Minuteman II missile silo. That's where they launched the nukes, if they ever had to. It's a mock-up, obviously. You just hope that Kamala Harris never gets her finger on the trigger. Of course, she would do everything to dismantle it. Okay, what we're looking at here is a B-36. See how the propellers are on the back side of the wing, big tail. And then they had jets up here. This airplane is the one I almost could have lost my Air Force career over, and maybe sitting in Leavenworth. So anyway, see that big tail section there? If you went through the nose up here, there's a big tube with like a little sled on it, and you could lay down on that thing and pull yourself all the way to the back of the airplane, where there's a big galley and table and stuff back there. So we had the keys for this bad boy, and we would, me and 4 or 5 other guys, and midnight shifts when the place was closed down, we would go up into the nose of this thing, climb up in there, and pull ourselves all the way to the back, and we'd drink sodas, smoke cigarettes, and play cards during our night shifts. So one time one of the guys emptied the ashtray before we were getting ready to leave, emptied the ashtray in one of the trash cans in the tail of that thing, and it flamed up and almost caught on fire. Well, it did catch on fire, but so there you have it. You might be able to, there's an entrance down here, you might be able to see that tunnel that we pulled ourselves through. This thing was designed for long-range nuclear weapon drops. Used to look out of that deal right there. So here's underneath. Oh, here it is, right there. See that thing, that long tube? We get in that thing, and it had a little, like a little railroad track on it, and that's what we would pull ourselves all the way to the back of this plane on, inside that thing. It was a lot of fun, man. You get zipping along in there. It's pretty cool. Huh. Wow, what memories. Recreation of a Minuteman II missile silo. That's where they launched the nukes, if they ever had to. It's a mock-up, obviously. You just hope that Kamala Harris never gets her finger on the trigger. Of course, she would do everything to dismantle it. This is a banquet the Air Force Museum's setting up for, it's all 4-star generals. Okay, that was definitely a trip down memory lane, and I hope you were okay to suffer through it all. Brought back a lot of memories during my 28-year career in the military. It's pretty cool. So if you ever get a chance to get out here to Dayton, Ohio and go to the Air Force Museum, you should definitely do it. Like I said, it's free, and you'll learn a lot and be exposed to a lot of really cool history. Thanks for watching.